Why do addicts or narcissists seem not to care? This is a really heartfelt question. I've heard, again, Dr. Weiss, they just don't seem to care. Stay with us. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. We have so much help for you in so many areas of your life. If you have a question, put it in the box. We'll get to you as soon as possible. Why is it that narcissists and addicts do not care? This is a tough one. So I have to explain something that's in a video called Unstuck. And that is about object relationships versus relational relationships. Now hang with me for just about a minute and a half here, and then I'm going to get into the answer to your question. There are basically two operating systems of the human being, and I discovered this working with them for the last 40 years. People fly into Heart Counseling Center. We do 5-day intensives. We deal that with infidelity, sexual addiction, intimacy anorexia, which is where someone neglects their spouse spiritually, emotionally, and sexually. And so we've had to deal with narcissists and addicts throughout the years, throughout the decades. So there's two operating systems. The first one is relational. And this is probably you if you're watching, if you're a spouse or a partner. People have value. People are souls. They have innate value just because they are. Number two, you believe there are rules or laws or kind of guiding principles of life. And number three, you believe there are consequences if you violate number two, those rules. And you expect them. You know, if you're going 80 miles in a 50, you expect to get a ticket. And you don't even argue about it because you know you were wrong. But then there's the object relationship system. And this is flipped on its head. This can happen because of narcissism, psychological disorders like that. But it can also happen because of trauma. It can flip you over. And it can also happen if you have an addiction, because you get robbed of the spiritual, emotional, moral development that allows you to be relational. What happens here is that the object person does not believe people have value. Okay, they're actually living in a video game, and you have value as long as you kind of meet some kind of need or you're helping them get to a goal, but you're like a chess piece. You're not valued, and you only have value if you perform to reach a need or a goal. Number two, there are no rules for them. And number three, they don't expect any consequences. When they get consequences, they get mad because now their worldview, which is there are no consequences, is being deeply challenged. And so they're going to get really angry if you set boundaries or have consequences for their behavior. Now, if you're relational, you don't understand anything I just said. And so that puts you at a disadvantage, because you keep projecting your relational values of, I have value. You should care that you're putting me in pain. Can't you feel my pain? Why can't you see me? Why can't you hear me? And it's like you're banging at a door that doesn't want to open. And this lack of empathy you don't get, and you can't get unless you are dealing with the narcissism or a mental health issue or an active addiction. Now, the good news is if there is an active addiction, if they treat the addiction, they can have empathy and connect with you. I did a product called Narcissism, Sex Addiction, and Intimacy Anorexia. It's really worth watching all the way through. And the other thing is that it can be learned. I've helped thousands, and I mean many thousands of addicts learn to become emotionally mature. This lack of empathy, if they're not a narcissist, can be learned. This book right here, Emotional Fitness, is the best way to develop feelings. In our culture, in Western culture, where there's no place where you learn how to identify your feelings, communicate your feelings, feel the feeling, and then be able to switch the feeling so that you're not being managed by your feelings. And emotional fitness in about 60 days can help you become incredibly emotionally fit. So if someone is within the normal range and they're not a narcissist, they can learn how to do this. If they have an addiction, they have to arrest the addiction. Okay, and if we can help you at Heart Counseling Center, please give us a call, 719-278-3708. We want to help you. But if you can rob the addiction, I have taught thousands of people these skills on emotional fitness, and they were able to be empathic. They were able to see the pain that they were causing, and they were able to be authentic with who they were without having to blow up and create a nightmare of a situation and then talk about what they were really feeling. They can develop emotional maturity because addictions rob you of emotional maturity. So that lack of empathy for addicts or narcissists can, number one, be a lack of maturity straight up. If there's addiction, it's straight up a lack of maturity. Emotional fitness is your solution. Maybe getting some counseling or help. That can be helpful, especially if it's a sexual addiction or involved infidelity. There's a lot of trauma there. And let me say this. If you're watching and you're married to or a long-term relationship with an addict, you've experienced partner betrayal trauma, go to that website, partnerbetrayaltrauma.org. Lots of information there, lots of videos on YouTube about that I've done. And that's valid pain that you're in. But it doesn't mean that they're a narcissist. Okay, now if they are a narcissist, get psychological testing, verify they're a narcissist before you give them that label, because so many men and women have gone on Google. It's actually why we did the Narcissism product. And they email us and say, my husband's a narcissist, my wife's a narcissist. And we ask where they got the test results from, and they would have to say Google. Google's not a psychologist. So get a valid test by a local psychologist. That can help you discern that. And if they are a narcissist, they can go to someone who treats narcissists, and they can learn how to develop emotional empathy, connection, and all that kind of stuff if they truly want to do the work. It's hard, but it can be taught. So the reason it's there, it can be because of the robbing of the addiction, that they don't care. Either way, they're operating in an object relationship. With addiction, they can heal and move to relational relationship. If they don't heal as an addict, they stay in that object relationship and you have no value. If they are narcissists, they operate in that system a lot. And so they have to learn how to become relational and human, even accepting their own flaws, instead of wanting to be treated as special or grandiose or needing admiration all the time and trying to fill a black hole that you can't fill. Well, I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, give us a call, 719-278-3708. And I want to encourage you, there's hope for you even if they don't get help. Get help for yourself.